Appeals. I'd like to make a motion to open the meeting, please.
I make a motion to open the meeting for today.
Second?
Seconded?
All right. First order of business, we have a number of bills that need to be approved. Can I please get a motion to approve the bills as they appear on the agenda?
Okay, I make a motion to approve the 3 bills listed on the agenda.
You get a second?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. First order of business, 6:30 hearing. This is to hear the appeal of Chris and Rachel Morrison.
First, 409 South Street.
Continued,
Oh, excuse me.
No problem.
Excuse me on that. First order of business is a request for continuation to the March 27th, 2023 meeting for the hearing 409 South Street, Gray Star Development East LLC, a comprehensive permit to Mass General Law 40B to permit the construction of a 196-unit age-restricted apartment community. Can I please get a motion?
Motion to continue to March 27th at 6:30 PM.
Can I get a second?
seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you. First 6:30 hearing, to hear the appeal of Chris and Rachel Morrison of 245 Maple Ave, Shrewsbury, Mass. For a special permit to the Shrewsbury zoning bylaw, Section 4, to construct an addition with a non-conforming front yard setback on a pre-existing non-conforming dwelling upon property located at 245 Maple Ave in the Residence B2 District. The subject premise is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 27, Plot 026000. Would the appellant please step forward? You can have a seat right here. Love this. We could please get your name for the record.
Chris Morrison.
Rachel Morrison.
Great, thank you. If you could tell us a little bit about what you have in mind.
So what we are planning on doing is currently the structure has a screened-in porch at the location where we want to put the addition. The plan is to tear down that existing screened-in porch, put on an addition that'll consist of 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a laundry room,
First floor.
all on the first floor.
Okay.
Okay.
That.
Ms. McAllister?
This is just a special permit for the front yard. The bulkhead on the side yard is a means of egress and it's exempt from zoning. So the only nonconformity is that 21.7 feet.
Okay. All right, let's start. Peter, questions, comments?
I think it's so minor, I have no problem with it at all.
Thank you.
Lisa?
I can understand from your plot plan, the sunroom that's pretty small right now
Yes.
is going to be removed and the addition will be put in its place. And your front yard setback right now for the existing house is 21.9 inches, 21 feet and 9 inches.
Yep.
And after you put the addition, that side of the house with your addition is only going to be 21 feet and 7 inches.
Yeah.
So I see.
It's pretty much just replacing the existing structure.
Yes.
The side setback we're fine with that. We've already shrunk the project once to kind of meet the back setback. We didn't want to go too far.
Okay, thank
So
you.
yeah, it really is just kind of just replacing the existing structure that's there.
Okay, great. And it'll have nice symmetry.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Yep. All right. Thank you. I have nothing further.
Patrick?
Looks good to me.
Ann?
Yeah, I think it looks great. Thank you.
Okay.
Great. I have no comments. I agree with everything that the board has brought up. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on this matter? Okay, wonderful. Motion to close the public hearing?
Yep. Since there's no public comment, I make a motion to close.
Second?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Okay,
And
You say thank you.
are we going to make decision right away or later?
right away.
Okay. Is there, since there's probably no further discussion, I make a motion to approve. I'll read it as listed. find it. All right. I make a motion to approve the special permit to the Shrewsbury zoning bylaw, Section 4, to construct an addition with a non-conforming front yard setback on a pre-existing non-conforming dwelling upon property located at 245 Maple Avenue in the Residence B2 District.
Can I get a second?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Thank you.
Done. You can go to bed.
Ryan, thanks.
Our TV debut went well, I would say.
No meltdowns.
Oh, that's good.
Always a bonus.
Oh, you shouldn't have said it.
Knock on wood.
Right. Okay. Next on the agenda. This is, sorry, I have conflicting paperwork here. Where are we?
I have 405 Boylston Street.
Right. This is to hear the appeal of 405 Boylston Street, CMSR Services, 482 Southbridge Street, Suite 268, Auburn, Mass. This is for a special permit, Section 4, to construct an addition with a non-conforming front yard setback on a pre-existing non-conforming dwelling.
Hi,
State your name for the record.
Kevin White.
Kevin, tell us a little bit about the project.
Similar scenario to them. We got 44.3 to the front setback. So we're less than 6 feet away from the front. We're just building a sunroom off the existing structure.
And this is one of those corner type deals,
Yep.
right? Yeah, corner lots. So bear with us. Okay.
Peter, you have a comment? Questions?
My opinion is the same as the last one. I think the difference is pretty minor. I'm not concerned about it.
Actually, you know what, before we start there, Rowan, anything?
No, just to remind the board that this was a front yard setback and it's required at 50 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 50 feet, but it's a front yard, but it's a corner lot, which is always a little confusing for everyone. And it's not going to be 50 feet, it's going to be 44.3. There is a jut out on the existing house that is, of course, closer to that setback. What can you just describe what the addition is for?
It's a 4-season sunroom.
Okay, thank you. No questions for me?
Patrick?
Oh, no questions for me.
Ann?
I have no questions.
Okay, nor do I. This is a public hearing. Anybody wish to be heard in the matter? Okay, great. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close.
Can I get a second?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
And I will read this. All right. I make a motion. Let me make sure I have the correct address. 405 Boylston. I too am looking at
Right.
things in different order, so I'll read it from here. All right. I make a motion to approve the special permit to Section 4 to construct an addition with a non-conforming front yard setback on a pre-existing non-conforming dwelling located at 405 Boylston Street in the Rural B District.
Can I get a second?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay. Next 6:30 hearing. This is to hear the appeal of George P. Carizzi, 294 West Boylston Street, West Boylston, Mass., for a variance to the Shrewsbury zoning bylaw, Section 4B and Section 7, Table 2, to construct a porch with a non-conforming front yard setback upon property located at 27 Bayview Drive in the Residence B2 District. The subject premise is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 57, Plot 025000. Would you please state your name for the record?
Certainly, thank you. Good evening, George Carizzi. I'm an attorney in West Boylston. I represent Mr. and Mrs. Lima, who are the property owners at 27 Bayview Drive. They're building their own residence at that property. The plan it envisions a farmer's porch on the front of the property. And when they laid out the house, so that the farmer's porch would meet the front yard setback, and that's the way they thought, because both sides of the property met the front yard setback from the streets. They were all set, so you almost assume that if you meet it on both ends, you're gonna meet it in the middle, but the street actually comes in at a bit of an angle. So the house is not perfectly parallel with the street, it's parallel with the side yard setback. In order to maintain side yard setback, they positioned the house parallel to the closest neighboring property. So they wanted to make sure that they maintained that line. And they wanted to bring it up as far as they can from the lake. So when they moved it up forward, they set the pin for the farmer's porch, thinking, I'm all set there, I'm all set on the other side, yet when you strike the line in the dead middle of the house, it appears as though we're 4 feet too close to the street. And when that was discovered, we filed our application. Again, we're seeking relief from the zoning bylaw so that we can have a farmer's porch. We're not any closer to any of the neighbors, and those points of the property that are close to the neighbors fully comply. As I said, it's someplace just in the dead middle of the property. So that's what brings us here tonight. Not too dissimilar from the other ones, but that's why we're here, so.
Okay, thank you. Ms. McAllister, anything you need to fill us in on?
I don't have anything to add, at this time at least. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Peter?
I don't have any issues. I think particularly where it's a porch and as opposed to like a room or something like that, going closer isn't an issue. And also I think whenever we're bordering the lake, we have to be a little bit flexible just because of the way the houses historically have been laid out there. So no problems for me.
Ms. Cosette? Or Bartone, excuse me?
That's okay. You've known me so long as
Sorry.
the other person.
Sorry.
Normally, if this was new construction, new house, and you're adding a porch, we would, of course, love you to angle the house so that it meets all the setbacks. But this is an existing non-conforming situation. So I, too, have no issue with what you're trying to do. I do think you need to have, or it's fine for you to have a porch and you have no other option to you in this case, so I'm fine.
Madam
Yep.
Chair, may I just
Yes.
to clarify, this is a variance and not a special permit, as long as,
Did I say special permit?
it,
Sorry.
I am not sure if it has a privileged pre-existing,
Yeah.
status. I believe
Well,
this was a
it's,
house constructed after 1967.
oh, yes,
This is a
yes.
rebuild of another one, so they had
Right.
got the special permit to rebuild, so that was it.
Yes.
They located the house, when they went to Concom wanted the house located as far from the lake. If you notice. the
Yes, you
plan,
can see that.
The serious slopes that we have
Yes.
as it goes down. the lake. So
Understood.
they Moved everything up, they pinned the corner, says, okay, this corner of
No,
the porch is
thank
gonna
you.
be fine. And so they just, kinda just probably thought that, I'm okay on this side, I'm okay on this
That makes
side, I
sense.
gotta be okay in the middle. And then when it comes time to build, it says, oh, the street's not, we're not, because if they had tilted the house to be parallel with the street, would be moving into the side yard setback. So we kept it so that we can stay completely in the building envelope, but in doing so, we have literally 4 feet at one corner of the porch. The other corner of the porch is within the, complies.
Right.
It's,
Yeah.
within the setback.
Yep, even if it had been angled, you would have hit toward the lake,
Or the side.
on the other side
Yeah.
of the property, and you'd have to deal with that. And you'd probably have to deal with some of the topography behind you, facing the lake. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Patrick, questions, comments?
No questions, no comments.
Ann?
No, I'm all set.
Okay. I too am all set. I appreciate your time, and this is a public hearing, so if there's anyone that wishes to be heard on this matter. Okay, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close.
Second?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Can I get
Off
a
the
motion?
Webster.
Fortunately.
All right, where the
Is
heck
it
is
8 o'clock yet? Not even 7
All right.
o'clock.
All right, I will make a motion to approve the variance to the Shrewsbury zoning bylaw, Section 4B and Section 7, Table 2, to construct a porch with a non-conforming front yard setback upon property located at 27 Bayview Drive in the Residence B2 District.
Can I get a second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Thank you
Very much.
very much.
you.
Enjoy your evening.
All right.
All right.
This one's gonna be
Next up, we have this is to hear the appeal of Taylor Perkins, 19 Oakland Ave, Shrewsbury, Mass. For a variance to the Shrewsbury zoning bylaws, Section 6, Table 2, Section 7, and Section,
let's see. 70?
7D.
7D, to allow for the use of the existing structure as a two-family dwelling with non-conforming frontage, setbacks, lot area, and parking requirements upon property located at 19 Oakland Ave in the Rural B District. The subject premise is described on the Shrewsbury Assessor's Tax Plate 19, Plot 149000.
Good evening. Donald O'Neill, I'm a lawyer in Worcester. I'm here this evening on behalf of Taylor Perkins. She's actually going to be here a little after 7, but I
Oh, we're speeding through,
didn't
sorry.
think you'd go through
Nor did we. It's a good thing.
3 applications in 15 minutes. But this property is, my client purchased it in December of 2021. And at the time that she actually purchased 2 properties adjacent to each other, 18 Main Street and 19 Oakland. Oakland is a narrow street just above the lake. There is no driveway access to the property from Oakland. And that the access is actually on the back through the Main Street property. And when she purchased the property at 18 Main Street is clearly a single family. The 19 Oakland was set up as a 2-family. And she went for a building permit to do renovations on 19 Oakland. And that's when this issue surfaced in terms of this not being a legal 2-family. We did do some work. She did speak with the building inspector and some others. They went back through the assessor's records and basically found a notation in the assessor's records in 1977, which is 46 years ago, noting that the work had been done on the property without a permit. But it has been, as far as we know, used as a 2-family from that point forward. And in fact, there's been a tenant in their place through the Shrewsbury Housing Authority for like the last 10 years. And they have been doing, inspections as they do for Section 8 housing during that period of time. There's never been any, that we're aware of, any kind of an issue or anything that would have presumably have brought this to the attention of anyone in town. So it's unusual in that oftentimes when you're asked to approve something, if somebody wants to add a second unit, there's always the notion of, well, how is this going to work? Is the parking going to work? Is it, there going to be adequate parking, that type of thing. And in this case, we know it works because it has been working, for that period of time. There is quite a bit of parking available on the adjacent property, which is 18 Main Street. And there are also 2 resident parking spaces or small lots within pretty close proximity to the property. Part of all of this would also entail, if the relief were granted by the board, she would have to ensure that the property meets all building code requirements. And primarily, I think in that case is probably fire separation walls, which in a lot of cases, it may just be as simple as two layers of sheetrock or something of that nature. But it has, it's been set up, you know, since that period of time as a two-family. It's always been used that way. It's probably been a two-family when, I would suspect, probably most of the neighbors, when they moved into that area, would have been a two-family at that point. And basically, she's hoping that it could continue to be a two-family. And I think when you have these situations, and this certainly is, you'll see cases where 46 years is a long period of time. Now, if it had been just slightly longer, it would have been an actual legal grandfathered use, just by a couple of years. But because of the fact that the zoning had changed when it was done, it could be 100 years and it's still not considered a grandfathered use. But I think in a situation like this where you have a new owner, she's not the one who created the apartment. Again, it's been in existence for that period of time. That it's one way of looking at this is if you would want to encourage people to come forward and to attempt to get the approvals that they need. And I think as part of that also, deal with the building inspector and making sure that everything is as it should be in terms of access and in terms of fire separation. All of those issues. The hardship in this case, I think, is actually the structure itself, she is the current owner and is looking basically to get back into the good graces of the town of Shrewsbury.
Okay.
She'll be here soon, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Great. Ms. McAllister?
Sure. I think the history was thoroughly covered by the appellant. If you have any other questions, I can provide a bit more information perhaps, but I just do know that this was discovered as a result of an inspection through a building permit. The other distinction I'd just like to call out is there are, in many ways, multiple variances at this point for both the use and the frontage and setbacks, lot area and parking. So just to remind you that Shrewsbury does allow for use variances. Those do not necessarily have the same criteria as a dimensional variance. So you can certainly use some of that language as guidance. But the variances for the frontage, setbacks, lot area, and parking requirements, you do have to make a finding of a hardship in relation to the ones outlined in Chapter 48, which I'm sure you all know at this point, right? So if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Peter?
Yeah, I do have a few questions. I just want to make sure I have the timeline right. So it was converted illegally to a two-family in the 70s?
That's based upon the records and the assessor's records. There's a notation in the records from
Done without a permit?
1977 that says no permit.
Okay, and that was done by the immediately preceding owner, the person who sold it to your client?
I believe so, because I looked and it looked like the previous owner had bought the property, I could check back in the assessors, but I think it was sometime in the 60s.
Okay. And it didn't come up that it was not a legal two-family during the process of the sale?
It did.
It didn't.
Did not.
I mean, if you had gone and searched the assessor's record or city records, you would have, seen it was listed as a single family. But
So the assessor had it listed as a single family?
We have the assessor's records. I think it's still listed as a single family.
Okay.
Assessor's record.
And so this was discovered as a result of attempting to do construction on it, and there was a permit, the building inspector came out and discovered that it was a two-family.
And,
So I-
and she was pulling permits to renovate the first floor.
Right.
And the other thing I would point out in terms of the structure is that the second floor is actually above, it's a second floor. It's where the apartment was located. So in terms of the building setbacks and things of that nature, at least I think everything went up, not necessarily out.
Yeah. So I think that the issue that I have is that if it was illegally converted to a two-family, and then your client bought it and it was listed in all public records as a single-family, then she was on notice that it wasn't a legal two-family. And now you're coming before us asking for a variance, and what you cite for the use variance is the fact that of the existing structure. I don't think we can say that the fact that it's an illegal two-family is the hardship and also the outcome. Do you know what I'm saying? And so I think I'd have a pretty hard time supporting that based on that chronology, but I'm curious to hear what other folks on the board think.
So I agree based on many other cases like this that have come before us. We go through this a lot. It's a shame that it's happening, and I appreciate that the appellant's trying to make it right. I don't think she has a choice, she wants to renovate, and so she has to follow the building codes for safety. This is,
I'd also add, sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt, I just want
Yeah.
to add, if this is Section 8 and this is with a state housing voucher or a federal housing voucher, you've got someone who's in an illegal apartment being paid for in part with public funds. And I'm not sure that it's something that as a board we want to be blessing. In other words, rewarding that sort of outcome. I, at the same time, feel terrible for the person who's there
yeah.
and who may be affected adversely by this, but that is a further
The
complication.
current tenant, yes.
Yeah, well, I think after what's, you could see where that could happen after 46 years. People just assume at some point that it's grandfathered.
With the exception that it was in public record on the assessor's list. I mean, they were paying their property taxes during that time as a single family, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it is the responsibility of the person purchasing the property to know what they are buying. So though I feel for her, I have always viewed that as the responsibility of that person. It could have been marketed as this, that, the other thing. You can see it on MLS and you see that there's an apartment, but it is truly listed as a single family. So I would have a tough time supporting it. I don't know, Ms. McAllister, if I'm concerned that the building inspector is not here or didn't offer specific comments, except for wanting to see a floor plan submitted, any existing parking spelled out on the lot. I know you stated that there's shared parking between, I think it's
That
18
was-
Main and 19 Oakland. So can you, I'm sorry?
Those items were,
Can you point me to, and there was one other thing, sorry.
Are they in the folder?
Oh,
Yes.
nope, yes, and I'm
I don't see it.
on plot plan or response to comment letter?
it's
Can you
gonna be
point me to
response
it?
to
Okay, thank
comment
you.
letter. So that is a,
Google Earth shot, and they're just,
Yep.
they're attachments that we can't see. Oh, I'm
if you scroll
sorry.
down.
Oh, thank you so much, I was looking for that.
There's also a letter.
All right.
Lisa.
So, so we have adjacent lots that the tenants of 19 Oakland would be able to leverage for parking. The layout floor plan is less of a concern to me as long as the appellant is fully aware that if we were to determine that the use is two-family, everything has to be brought up to code, and it may be more than just what you described. So that's it for me at the moment, but I might want to add something else.
Patrick?
I don't have any comment at this time. I'm just going along with this right now, taking it in.
Yeah?
I have a question, actually, probably for Ms. McAllister. Can we condition a special permit or a variance on the appellant obtaining a certificate of occupancy?
I do not believe so, because you cannot make your conditions conditional on another approval, but if the board was in favor of that, I would ask that we continue it, or if you do want to identify conditions, I'd like to draft them up and run them by building inspector and potentially town council if appropriate.
Could I interject on that a little bit? The use variance is, unlike a dimensional variance, does allow for conditions similar to a special permit to be imposed. So it does give you the ability to condition, whereas if a dimensional variance, goes with the land, and it can't be conditioned on a particular owner or anything of that nature. But you could have a situation where maybe if you were to allow it, the use variance, it could be contingent upon, available parking to be provided on the adjacent property, and that if that parking were to not to be available, then the use variance could go away. It could be, something could be done in that nature too.
Okay, thank you. I'll just add one more comment for myself that I have ruled on similar situations. I know each case is different, but for example, I've ruled against a property being classified as two-family when there was a single-family home and a rental unit on the property behind the house for 40-some years, and the property was going to be sold, and I would not, if I ruled that way on that one, I would not feel comfortable approving this. So you know where I stand.
All right. So this is a public hearing. Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on this matter? Okay. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So I would feel perfectly fine continuing,
Well, we don't.
but we're making a motion to continue, perhaps. We don't have the appellant present who was intending to be here, for one. I don't know what other information anyone else would need to make a decision. I don't need any more information, but if anyone else does, the appellant could perhaps provide that, or the building inspector could give us more comment.
What are your thoughts?
I'm not sure my opinion has changed. I just checked Zillow and it was listed as a single-family home there. I'm not sure what the description was for the person that sold it, but as Lisa mentioned, I mean, these things are all knowable. And it sounds like as a matter of public record, it was considered a single family. You
It's
have
a
it right there.
one-family and
Yeah,
public
it's
record.
listed in the assessors as a single family. So I hesitate to have the fact that it's always been an off-the-books two-family be the hardship for why we should allow it to continue to be a two-family.
Exactly. And just for everyone else, as a classified single family, it could be viewed as this unit could be an in-law that could be used by family, blood relatives. But having it used as rental income, and us having to approve it as a use variance, I'm not comfortable.
All right. Do we have enough to make a decision on?
I think, I do.
Okay. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Not for me, because I would
Okay.
consider
I make a
continuing.
motion to close the public hearing.
Can I get a second?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Sorry,
Can you-
I to close.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't speak.
No, that's okay.
Sorry, Lisa.
That's okay.
All right.
So someone needs to make a motion to,
Peter?
I could do it if I can get my
Here.
thing back. Okay, there we go. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to make a motion to deny the variance to the Shrewsbury zoning bylaw, section 6, table 2, section 7, and section 7D, to allow for the use of the existing structure as a two-family dwelling with non-conforming frontage, setbacks, lot area, and parking requirements upon property located at 19 Oakland Avenue in the Rural B District.
Second?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, then all deny unanimously.
Okay.
Can you
Was
just
that
say
5?
Those opposed?
That's it. Oh, any opposed? Toads. So
Well-
moved.
Sorry, it was a very great explanation,
Yep.
and we're
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's a shame.
Yep,
Hey, it is a shame.
always is. I hate
Yep.
it.
Yep. Okay. I think we have some new business.
And that's your,
Yeah. Public comment.
No, we
You did.
tried, we
Oh,
did.
we did.
Um,
I missed that.
Yeah.
okay, next on the
I
agenda?
double checked.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Next on the agenda, we have,
Me.
Rowan. Look at you.
And I apologize, I didn't make these available in advance, but I'd like to talk to you just about some draft zoning articles that the planning department is putting forth to the planning board next week. I want to make you all aware of them as well. I will put them in your folders though, so you can read over. There's just two relevant ones this annual town meeting. And the first is in regards to the gas station use in our bylaw. Now, the purpose of the zoning article is to remove the footnote 26, which limits the square footage of related non-gasoline sales. This was something that we saw for the 193 Hartford Turnpike,
Right.
and this was
the cafe.
Yep. So at this point, the planning department is in support of this and believes that the restriction is antiquated based on the current business models for
Okay.
gas stations,
Seems fair.
and therefore is restrictive.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the change we're making. We're removing the requirement, essentially, which is that
Removing?
footnote. We're removing the limitation of the square footage for non-gasoline sales.
Okay.
And just to clarify for the sake of the,
Sure.
whatever public is watching, if you were to have a cafe or whatever at a gas station, you would still need all the other relevant approvals for that. This isn't saying as of right, you can build whatever you want.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep, no, they would, that would need to be an approved and allowable use in the district or seek relief.
Okay.
Makes sense. The times have changed.
Yeah. All right, and then the second one, was, we've had a couple inquiries about a particular use that is not defined in our zoning bylaw, and that use is an adult day health center, which is, my understanding is that it's permitted through the state. But we would be adding a row on our use table to establish that this
Love it.
adult day health center is allowable by special permit through the planning board in a number of districts, those being RESB 2, multifamily districts, limited business, town center, commercial business, and limited office research and office research. So the majority of our zoning districts
much
that
the
are
whole-
not residential,
Right.
solely residential.
I like it.
All set on the flow sheet? Or,
No.
Okay.
It's wrong.
Sorry.
Sorry.
All right, so
Squirrel.
just to close that off.
Very direct. We're very efficient tonight.
All right. Yeah, so that's Adult Day Health Center. Is there any
What's it
questions?
called again? Adult Day Health Center? And that's what,
That's what
that's
it's
the
called.
term that's used elsewhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well,
It is permitted. It looks
great.
like Division of Healthcare Facility Licensure and Certification.
Okay, so there's a state license that's associated.
Exactly.
Okay, that's helpful too.
Yeah. So that is it for
Okay.
our relevant sections tonight. Okay.
Very interesting
you.
stuff. Okay. All right.
Do you
Well,
need to do anything
That woman didn't.
at this point, or
Yeah, no, I need their paperwork is wrong on the continuation
No.
Gray
for
Star.
Gray Star.
oh, it's a withdrawal.
Oh,
It's a withdrawal.
Okay.
So you want to just send it out
Yeah.
for electronic? Okay.
Is that all right with everyone?
Yeah,
Electronic
so
signatures.
there's going to be
Scribble it out and
follow-up
write it
for
in.
signing one of our continuance.
Let's
Do you want to
let's
scribble?
What do you- oh, what?
as the chair, can you just do it and then initial,
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's
and then
Oh,
if the
continuance.
clerk doesn't
Yes.
accept it,
Oh,
we'll.
for us
to
sign
March
it. Oh, yeah.
27.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Sorry about that.
That's all right. My astute clerk caught it.
That's what clerks do.
You're
Glad
you're
we
a
got
good
one.
clerk.
Thank goodness.
I don't know what I would do without you,
All
clerk.
right, here we go. Thank
Here
you.
we go. Okay. Okay. It's probably all the official
have to
business
do-
we have for this evening, so I can get a motion to close our meeting for this evening.
Motion to close.
Can I get a second?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I can't.
So moved. Thank you.
Same time.
All right.
Okay.
And we have